with Keith and Michael Jeffrey, two of the guys of Atlas Genius. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Now, you guys being here in Salt Lake, you've been here before. You're playing tonight
Yes.
at Kilby Court.
Correct.
And how excited are you to be in Salt Lake?
More excited than I could even tell you right now.
Really?
No.
Come on.
That's why I've got a tomato juice over there as well. I'm just getting
Is it
into
just straight tomato juice?
Straight tomato juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomato juice, I'm
You
sorry.
say tomato, I say tomato.
Let's just call the whole thing off. All right,
Yeah.
this interview is done. The whole thing is off.
We'll catch you later.
You guys are like, yeah, we'd actually like a break. You guys touring all the time, right?
Yeah, we just got back from England. Actually, Europe. We did England and Europe about 2 weeks ago.
Yep,
Mhm.
2 weeks.
So that was good. That was like a bit of a whirlwind trip, about 2 weeks over there, and then we came back here and straight back into it.
And now we're doing this whole thing. I'm excited. I think your guys' story is really awesome.
It feels like quite a unique story, I have to say.
So tell us, for people who don't know the story, who didn't do the research.
In a nutshell.
You don't have to nutshell it. We got time.
15 words or less.
Yeah.
Well, basically what happened is we were writing songs.
You guys are brothers. I don't know if I
Correct.
pointed that
We
out
are
already.
brothers. And so we were writing songs for this band, and we actually decided to build a studio, which took us around 2 years to build.
So we decided to smash down our old studio, and then we were
We had a studio, we had like a typical bedroom studio that a lot of people have. And
that typical bedroom studio that so many people have.
Well, there's a lot of people these days.
Is there?
There's a lot of people who have laptops and a computer. With
Okay,
a few
so
mics.
just like a simple mic. I thought I'm envisioning this, soundproof studio that is typical.
It was soundproof. It was okay. It was probably better than the average
Yeah.
bedroom, but it was a bit small.
Okay.
So we knocked that down and built a new one on the same spot. We thought it might take us 3 months to do it. It took us 2 years,
Oh, jeez.
which was a little bit longer than we had hoped. But in the end, we got this really good studio to work in. So we did that, and around about the same time as finishing that, we were working on songs the whole time while we were doing that as well. And then when we finished building that studio, we kind of had this moment of almost like panic of like, hey, what are we doing here? Because we have a band that nobody knows of, and we're writing songs. But the music industry is a hard game to make it at. So we thought that maybe we should get sensible. And so I went back to university, and Michael went back as well. Yeah. So we kind of, in a way, almost quit music. And then
What were you studying in school?
I was doing architecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was doing economics, which
cool.
was an insanely fun topic.
Yeah, it's so different
From music.
playing
It's
music.
the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we did that. And then we'd scale back the amount of time we were putting into music during that period because, study was just so intense. Then, the first song we finished on the side, basically, was this song called Trojans, which we thought was okay. And we thought, look, let's put this up on the internet on a few sites and just take it from there. Every month or two we'll put out a new song and we'll maybe build up a small, modest following. And in the space of about a month, it was about a month after we put the song up that we noticed that there was a blog in New York had blogged about it. And then after that, within the space of about 2 to 3 months, we had 30 record labels approach us.
Holy cow.
And so it was just this completely out of the blue in that, we'd almost given up on music. And then all that happened. And then from there, it's sort of the song started taking off. Got a lot of radio play over here, and still gets a fair bit of radio play. And then and last year we signed with Warner Brothers, and we've been touring for about the last 10 months, flat out.
How is the music scene in Australia?
Eclectic, and also it's hard to have, especially where we're from, which is quite remote. Adelaide is it's 1.3 million, so it's not tiny, but it's the closest city to it is probably like another 1,000 kilometres.
Oh, geez.
So touring is really hard. So you get
everyone here is going, okay, kilometers into miles. That's
okay. So maybe like 700 miles.
Okay.
It's
a good long distance.
It's a good day's drive.
Yeah. And so and Australia doesn't have many people. It's really spread out. It's a big country. So touring is really hard, and so you sort of get cities that do their own thing, and we've got an eclectic scene. There's a bit of an indie scene happening there, but we're actually quite well known for our metal scene.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of metal that comes out of Adelaide.
There's been a fair few quite large.
There was a big band back maybe 5-10 years ago called I Killed the Prom Queen, which is a big metal band that
I think they're just touring around here the last few months.
I think they're still going. That's kind of one of the biggest exports. So if you want metal, come to Adelaide.
Go to Adelaide.
Yeah.
And so like being there in Australia, then is it that you would do like, and now we're doing Brisbane, we're doing a day in Brisbane, or do people over there, is it one of those things where here in the United States we're like, oh, Atlas Genius, we love it, and people in Australia go, who?
I mean, we're starting to get a bit of radio play now, which is good. The last sort of 3 to 6 months, we've started to get a lot of play. So
we're actually going back for our first tour as Atlas Genius in July, I think. So we actually haven't played shows.
So yeah, we're going to be back there playing it for 2 weeks. We get to go home.
And you guys had been on tour with Imagine Dragons. That's kind of a local favorite here.
Somewhat hometown boys.
Yeah, somewhat hometown. A couple of them are from a city down south of Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And I was told secondhand a story about sometime you guys were playing on stage and one of them came out and kissed you or something.
Well, actually, probably even further than that. We had the bass player Ben on the last show of the tour. We were playing in Colorado.
In Denver, Colorado.
And we were playing along. And I think it was one of the last, probably the last song of the set.
No, it was midway through the set.
Midway through. And then this semi-naked guy comes out, basically just in his underwear, in his ill-fitting underwear. And
too big or too small?
Probably too small.
Too big, too small. I'm not sure that's debatable. And so he came out, and it was Ben, and Ben sort of just walked around the stage.
And there's toilet paper hanging out the back as well.
Oh yeah, so it was a pretty sight.
You can actually see the photo of him on our Instagram if you want to check it out.
How do people follow you on Instagram?
If you just go Atlas Genius.
Just go to Atlas Genius on Instagram. But yeah, if you want to see the photo of Ben
there
prancing around in his underwear, it was great.
So kind of what almost seems like just in the span, like you said, like 2-3 months, he came from, hey, let's not be doing this music so much anymore, to, hey, you know what, let's go back to quitting school and going about doing it.
There was a big moment. There's a couple of weeks where it was like, what do we do here? Do we, because it was at exam period as well. So you're trying to focus on that, on the study and the drudgery that is exam study.
Does that come from your parents that they're like, oh man, we should go back to school, or is it kind of self-driven?
They're the complete opposite.
They were always, if you like music,
give it a go.
Don't focus on study, which is, I don't know if any parents in the history of the world have ever done that before.
They're like, university, don't do that. Do music.
You know what, I think they were actually almost disappointed that we went back to study.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd given up on something?
Yeah.
Are they musical themselves?
Our dad is musical. Yeah.
Is he part of that band you mentioned, the rock band the metal band you guys mentioned? I'm just kidding.
No. He's not a big metal guy, I have to say. But he's musical, and our mum's a music fan.
Big fan of you guys. Well, that's cool. So you said you're touring, going back into Australia, right, to tour in July. What else is coming up for you guys?
Well, we're doing the headline tour here for the next month or month and a half.
Is that awesome? Because this is your first time headlining, right?
Headline tour.
It's
been
a really
amazing.
great feeling. I mean, we've done a couple of big tours. We did the Suicide Pickups tour and then the Imagine Dragons tour. And they were both long countrywide tours. But then this is the first time of doing our own headline tour around the country, and it's been great. Like, most of the shows have sold out, and the crowds have been really great.
Has it been fun from like an artistic point of view? Because you guys get to call the shots when you headline, right?
Yeah, you can play a lot longer. You can extend the songs. You can do everything that you want to do. There's not as much of a compromise as when you're headlining. So when you're supporting, you might have a half-hour slot, maybe 45.
So how long do you guys play for?
Maybe hour and 5.
Hour 5, hour 10.
Yeah, you're like,
It
depends.
It depends on the mood. Like, if something's really working, we might extend it out.
Yeah.
Really? You would go...
The sections that are just open, and just depending on the night, how we feel, they can go on longer.
You're like, it took a little longer to get here. Sorry, Salt Lake. We're going to cut it 20 minutes shorter
than that. If it's a short set, then we weren't digging it.
I'm sure tonight will be a long set.
Yeah. How is it being brothers? Is that a different dynamic? I mean, obviously you don't know any different. You've always been brothers and everything like that. Yeah. But is it a different dynamic between the two of you and the rest of the band? Or do they like approach you guys different because you're related? Or is it business is one thing, family is another?
There's always it's a blurred line when you're in a band with your brother. There is, there's no real sort of quote unquote home life or family life. It's everything's in together. But we obviously we're super close, so I trust him a lot with the music and everything. So I mean, that family bond I think is a good thing. It does. I mean, obviously sometimes it'd be nice just to have just an ordinary brother relationship, where you see each other every so often and then you can appreciate each other as brothers rather than workmates and musicians. But
24/7 in each other's grill.
Yeah.
But it's
It works out. I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's
have
good.
to be. You're like,
No, it's
I mean, now's your time, Mike. Do you want to leave the
We
band?
haven't had yet. Touch wood. We haven't had any. Any
We haven't had any big
disagreements.
fights.
No, not
That's
yet.
great.
Not
That's
yet.
great. That's really good. Let's before I let you go, I want to talk Led Zeppelin and you guys. Is there the connection that everyone connects it with you guys?
What's that? Is there a connection?
Well, because people are talking about how on your EP that there's nothing. Let me make sure I get this right. Through the Glass. There's no mention of Through the Glass on your first EP. And then
that actually was a little tip of the hat to Led Zeppelin.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
You're the first person. Is he the first person to figure it out?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it once, but in an
Nice.
interview. But yeah, you're correct.
See?
Nicely deduced.
Yeah, well, that I can't claim that. That's actually someone who helped me with these
Oh,
notes,
okay.
prepare that. So,
Yeah.
tips to you, Sid. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you guys for taking a few minutes. Tell people website where they can find the music and all that
Well,
stuff.
you can find the music at all good music stores, I'm sure. Online on iTunes or Spotify.
The website atlasgenius.com.
A whole bunch of illegal downloading websites. It's everywhere.
You guys mentioned that you do Instagram. You do that pretty common.
We're on there every day.
Okay. What about Twitter? Do you tweet?
we do.
We're tweeting every day.
Join us in Twitterland, everybody, and
At
Instagram.
Atlas Genius.
That is it.
Yeah.
And then Facebook. We have a fan page that
Yep.
people
Yes.
can go.
Facebook.com/Atlas Genius.
And is it you guys that do it, or
It
is
is
it
us.
someone that
No,
takes care of
Yeah,
it?
we're
It's
big
us.
on that. I'm actually I'm not not a big fan of bands that leave it up to their label or whatever. You can smell that a mile away.
There are a few bands, a few of our favourite bands, but we're not going to say. You can tell that they don't write their
Yeah.
their.
Well, you
posts.
could
And
tell.
and
You can tell the personality
it's
of it.
personal and it's
Yeah.
So will you know if you get a tweet back from the folks at Atlas Genius that it's from you guys?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, best of luck with your show tonight, you guys. I know there's a room full of people waiting to hear you guys play acoustically, so thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
bet.
you. Cheers.